All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Beast Wars Mutant Razorclaw. Not to be confused with the other version of Razorclaw that was released earlier in the toy line, the one that turns into a crab that we also took a look at recently. Just two figures with the same name in the toy line. Not entirely sure why that is, but whatever. They're not really, of course, meant to be the same character at all. They have no connection. This one was part of the Mutants section of the toy line, which was kind of towards the end of the Beast Wars toy line, which means that they're kind of hard to get your hands on nowadays. But yeah, if you're unfamiliar, basically the whole gimmick with the four mutant figures was instead of having a robot mode, they had two separate beast modes, and they just turned from one into the other. I'm pretty sure that they were like repurposed from some like weird Animorphs design or something like that, because they do feel slightly different than the other figures in the Beast Wars toy line. But yeah, in the case of Razorclaw here, he transforms from a wolverine into a velociraptor, which is an interesting combination. And yeah, the wolverine mode is okay. I think it's definitely the weaker of the two modes. I'd say the one thing that really holds the wolverine mode back is that its front legs just are velociraptor legs, and Wolverines have like sharp claws, but they're kind of just like big badgers, so they don't really have like super long legs like this. I think that looks pretty awkward. The back legs are still even a little bit longer than you'd think that they should be, but they're a little bit more kind of in line here. But the front legs, I think, just kind of look ridiculous. Now, mine is missing a couple parts here. He's missing one of the claws from each foot that were just on ball joints and are lost. I've had this one since I was a kid. I used to have Icebird and Soundwave, but they've kind of been lost to time. I don't really have those anymore. And then the fourth one, Poison Bite, is one that I've never had, which is unfortunate because I'd like to check out that figure sometime. But it is not easy to find online for cheap. But yeah, it's an okay Wolverine mode. I think it kind of gets away with it just because most people don't have like a great concept of like what a Wolverine actually looks like, because more people are more familiar with the character Wolverine than the actual animal, sort of similar to like Tasmanian devils. But yeah, it's okay. I don't really like that the tail just kind of like sits underneath and comes out like that. I think that's a little bit awkward. And again, the front legs being so long, I don't think is doing the figure any favors. But yeah, in terms of articulation, the head can't really do much of anything. It can look up a little bit, but it kind of just gets disjointed from the body. You can open the mouth, but it's really difficult to actually get a fingernail in there. I usually have to like stick something in the mouth to open it up, and it looks okay when it's open. But yeah, in terms of other articulation, the back legs here are on ball joints, which pretty much just get a swivels range. Like they can wiggle around a little bit, but they can't like really hinge out to the side or anything. The knees are on hinges, and then the feet are on ball joints that have really gotten super floppy loose over time, unfortunately, but at least they're small parts. And then the front legs here obviously have a lot of articulation for the Velociraptor mode. So they can hinge out to the side like this. This bit can rotate. I've seen some images showing it with this part of the leg facing outside, so you can still see the mutants label in this mode. I pretty sure most of the official pictures have it like this, but I think it's pretty clearly like, oh, this is sculpted to be like the Velociraptor texture, and then this part is sculpted to be the Wolverine fur. So that's how I prefer it, even though you have to look at the screw holes in this mode, but whatever. But yeah, that can rotate around. It also has this interesting separate like hinge joint, so it can rotate up and down like that. It can rotate here at the knee and then hinge up and down. Can also hinge at this joint, and then the two middle toes can hinge up and down. This toe is also on a ball joint, but pretty much just gets a swivels range, and then obviously the one that was on a ball joint would have had kind of a ball joint range. And yeah, it's an okay mode. I just think it's not nearly as good as the Velociraptor mode, and obviously the color doesn't really serve it super well either. It's definitely more geared towards being a dinosaur, but whatever. In terms of comparisons in this mode, just for the standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe. For a standard modern Beast Wars Deluxe, here he is with Kingdom Cheetor. And then I'll show him off with him here too, but this is more for the other mode. Here he is with Kingdom Dinobot. But yeah, to get onto transformation here, he's got kind of a neat transformation. Basically just turns inside out. We can take these legs here, and then you'd want to rotate them around like that so that they're kind of prepped and ready for the dinosaur mode, but we're just going to leave them off to the side for now. Take this flap here, kind of open it up, and then kind of fold up well, actually, no, we just leave it like that for now. And then you take this whole section here, and it'll kind of hinge open like this. And then you can kind of take the Wolverine head and then fold it in as you do that. And then fold this as far as it will go. And then you want to make sure that this panel is kind of collapsed so it's actually sitting in line with the rest of the body. And then you take the tail section and rotate that around so this little nub kind of sits underneath that panel. And then you can take the little Wolverine tail, it's just on a little slider here, slides out, rotates around, and then is replaced with the tip of the raptor tail there. And yep, just get that in place, kind of put that panel back. You want to take the raptor claws here and just rotate them out like this, and then take these panels with the back legs here and then rotate them down like this, and then take the legs themselves and kind of just rotate them onto the belly of the dinosaur. Then we can fold the legs down into place to hide the Wolverine head, and then take the raptor head and fold it up, and there you have Razorclaw in his raptor mode. And yeah, I think that this is a lot more successful as an alt mode than the Wolverine mode. It definitely seems like it works a bit better. I think that was kind of the case with most of the mutant figures. Like for Soundwave, his alligator mode was a bit better than the bat mode. For Icebird, the bear mode was a lot more convincing than the owl mode. And for Poison Bite, I actually think both modes look good, but I would say the Barracuda mode looks a little bit better than the Scorpion mode. But I think that one's the one that actually looks the best in both modes. And Razorclaw he's got an okay Wolverine mode, but I think that the Raptor mode is where he really shines. In terms of articulation in this mode, your head can't really do anything other than look up. It can open at the jaw there. The little front arms here are on ball joints, so they can rotate around like that and then kind of rotate up and down. The legs have all the same articulation as they did before in Wolverine mode, obviously. And then the tail here, you kind of have to disjoint it, but you can kind of rotate it around. And if you just do it in kind of like subtle ways, I still think it looks good. But this is really how it looks best when it's actually locked in like that. And then the other weird feature that all of the mutant figures had was they had like a hidden robot mode head somewhere, like the remnants of what their robot mode was supposed to be. And then in the case of Razorclaw, you kind of just take this back section of his head and rotate it up like that, and then it reveals this weird little bug head on the inside, and then the antennas of the bug head make up the eyes of the raptor mode, which is kind of cool, but still just a very weird feature. And it's not like you'd actually want to display like that. I mean, it is spring loaded, so it's not supposed to stay open. Mine's just gotten stiffened up over the years, so you kind of can leave it open now, but that's not really how it was designed. And yeah, the other ones all had like some extra features where you could like reveal other like robot-y detail, which Razorclaw really doesn't have for whatever reason, but whatever. But yeah, in terms of comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Sideswipe, and here he is again with Cheetor. And now the much more relevant comparison, here he is with Kingdom Dinobot. Obviously, he's kind of a deluxe, more of a Voyager, so he's a bit smaller than Dinobot, but still, they kind of look cool together. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this figure. Not a lot to say. I'm not a huge fan of the Mutant toy line, just because, like, the lack of a robot mode, I don't know. It's just part of the fun of the Beast Wars toy line, I feel like, and Transformers in general, is having a cool-looking robot mode. I like the idea. I wish that they would ever do like triple changing animal formers again, because I feel like that's kind of a cool idea where they would actually turn into two different animals and still have a robot mode. But they kind of struggle enough as it is with just making regular like organic beast mode Transformers, so it's kind of a tall ask. But yeah, he's an okay figure, but that's pretty much all there is to him. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews normally every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I am going to be taking this upcoming Thursday off because it's American Thanksgiving, so I'm not going to be uploading a review on that day, but then I'll be back to my normal schedule here. But yeah, without further ado, here we have Transformers Beast Wars Mutant Razorclaw.